Just 1 cup of salt water used correctly every day can help you fight off colds, completely eliminate bad breath, and protect your gums, all without taking a single pill. Welcome to the channel where we share valuable knowledge for living healthy and happy during middle age and beyond. Today, we are going to explore a cheap but surprisingly effective secret: the correct way to use saltwater rinses to maximize their benefits. This simple practice can not only prevent colds, but also lower the risk of sore throats, gum inflammation, and even help with bad breath, a quiet struggle for many older adults. Do not underestimate it. Just one small habit practiced consistently every day can lead to major improvements in your overall health. Before we dive into this powerful tip, let us take a small but meaningful step together. Leave a positive affirmation in the comments below, like "I choose to take proactive care of my health every day," or any other wonderful commitment you wish to declare. And do not forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel, so that every day you can receive another small yet valuable tip for living a healthier, happier life. Together, we will turn small actions into life-changing transformations. Before we get into how to properly and effectively use saltwater, we need to clarify something that seems simple but is incredibly important. Why are small issues like mild gum inflammation or a slight sore throat more concerning than we often realize? We tend to brush off minor signs in our mouths, a little soreness in the morning, slightly reddened gums, or bad breath after waking up. But from a medical perspective, these are not just temporary inconveniences. They are early signs of microbial imbalance and immune decline at one of the body's key gateways. Scientists call the mouth a microbial gateway, home to over 700 species of bacteria. When this delicate ecosystem gets disrupted even slightly, the consequences can spread further than you might expect. Mild gum inflammation, if left unchecked, can develop into periodontitis, a serious condition that leads to gum recession, loose teeth, and early tooth loss. Similarly, bad breath is not just leftover food. It can be a sign of protein-degrading anaerobic bacteria thriving in an acidic mouth environment. Bacteria that can cause sore throats and even chronic tonsillitis if they penetrate deeper into the respiratory system. It does not stop there. Numerous large studies over the past decade have demonstrated a strong connection between oral health and chronic systemic diseases. For instance, ongoing gum disease increases the risk of cardiovascular diseases because bacteria from the mouth can enter the bloodstream and trigger systemic inflammation. One study published in the Journal of Periodontology showed that people with severe periodontal disease have up to a 25% higher risk of coronary artery disease compared to those with healthy gums. We often think everyone catches a cold sometimes. A toothache just needs a few pills. But every time that happens, the immune system pays a silent price. And when these small battles occur daily, week after week, month after month, our immune defenses gradually wear down. One day, you might find yourself facing a serious illness that could have been prevented early on with just a few minutes of proper daily care. So what is a simple, practical solution that does not rely on medication? The answer comes from something so familiar that it is often overlooked: warm salt water. Salt water, especially when mixed at the right concentration and used at a warm temperature, creates a gentle yet effective antibacterial environment. This has been confirmed by numerous clinical medical studies. When you rinse your mouth with salt water, the osmotic concentration of the salt draws water out of bacterial cells, making it harder for them to survive and multiply in the mouth. Another often overlooked advantage is the mildly alkaline pH of salt water. After eating and drinking, our mouths tend to become more acidic, which is the perfect environment for bacteria that cause cavities and gum disease to thrive. Rinsing with warm salt water helps neutralize this acid. Not only is salt water effective, but it is also naturally compatible with the body. It is important to remember that blood, tears, and sweat all contain salt at specific levels, meaning our bodies are biologically programmed to accept salt as part of normal physiology. Therefore, when you use salt water correctly, you are not causing irritation. Instead, you are actively supporting healing and the regeneration of damaged tissues in the mouth. In fact, in clinical medicine, saline solution is still recommended after oral surgeries, tooth extractions, gum procedures, and more, because of its mild antiseptic properties, non-toxicity, and ability to speed up recovery time. In other words, among the countless mouthwash products on the market filled with chemicals, alcohol, and artificial fragrances, warm, salt water stands out as the most natural, effective, and safest choice, especially for older adults, young children, or anyone looking to protect their oral health without harming the beneficial microbial ecosystem in the mouth. Now you understand why salt water is considered an ideal companion for oral health. But what is even more amazing is that when used correctly and consistently, it offers a range of practical benefits that you can truly feel day by day. First, rinsing your mouth with warm salt water significantly reduces the risk of colds and sore throats by washing away bacteria, viruses, and fine dust particles that cling to the throat lining. After breathing or speaking, salt water acts as the first filter before pathogens have a chance to penetrate deeper into the upper respiratory tract. This becomes especially important during seasonal transitions when the immune system tends to be weaker. Regular gargling at these times helps eliminate inflammatory agents early on, reducing the frequency of catching colds or developing persistent coughs. Second, salt water helps maintain the pH balance in the mouth. As mentioned earlier, after each meal, leftover sugars and starches ferment into acids, lowering the mouth's pH to levels unsafe for tooth enamel. When this happens, bacteria that cause tooth decay, most notably Streptococcus mutans, can flourish. Salt water, with its mildly alkaline properties, neutralizes this acidic environment, soothes inflamed gums, and helps prevent bleeding and swelling. Another often underestimated but highly practical benefit is improved breath. Bad breath does not just come from the stomach or certain foods. Most of it originates from the breakdown of proteins and organic material right inside the mouth, particularly on the tongue and gums. Salt water not only cleans the surface, but also inhibits anaerobic bacteria, the group that produces sulfur gases responsible for unpleasant odors. After just a few days of consistent use, you will notice fresher breath without needing any chemical-based deodorizers. Finally, there is a lesser-known but deeply important benefit for the immune system. Salt water gently stimulates the tonsils, the biological defense outposts of the throat. When you perform the gargling motion correctly, salt water comes into direct contact with the back of the throat where many immune cells are concentrated. This stimulation helps the tonsils stay sharp in identifying and responding to pathogens, especially during seasonal changes, or when you are more vulnerable to colds. Now that you understand the benefits that saltwater rinsing brings, the next important step is learning how to do it correctly. Even small mistakes in preparation or technique can drastically reduce its effectiveness or even cause unwanted irritation. For ingredients, all you need is 1 cup of warm water, about 200 milliliters, which is approximately 6-8 fluid ounces, with an ideal temperature between 98.6 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, or about 37 to 40 degrees Celsius. When you hold it in your hand, it should feel pleasantly warm, not burning hot. Avoid using water that is too hot, as it can damage the sensitive mucous membranes of the mouth and throat. Next is the salt, the key factor. You should use pure salt without added iodine or anti-caking agents, as these additives can sometimes irritate sensitive mucous tissues. The ideal amount is half a teaspoon of salt, about 2 to 2.5 grams, dissolved in 1 cup of warm water. This creates a solution with a salinity close to physiological saline at 0.9%, strong enough to provide mild antibacterial action without causing dryness or irritation. Once you have the properly prepared warm saltwater solution, you start the rinsing process in 2 phases. The first phase is a gentle mouth rinse for about 15 to 20 seconds, swishing the water around the inner cheeks, around the teeth, and under the tongue to help wash away leftover food particles and surface plaque. Then you move on to gargling. Tilt your head back slightly. Take a deep breath and make a deep gargling sound in your throat so that the salt water comes into contact with the back of the throat where most bacteria and immune cells reside. Perform this step for about 30 to 60 seconds, then spit it out completely. It is very important not to swallow the salt water, even if you are used to the practice. Although salt and water are simple timing, Your saltwater rinses can significantly enhance their effectiveness, especially during the golden moments of the day when your body is most vulnerable and most receptive to the beneficial effects. The first ideal time is in the morning, right after waking up. After a long night, the mouth becomes a breeding ground for bacteria due to decreased saliva production and lack of mechanical movement. Rinsing your mouth at this time helps remove accumulated microorganisms, kickstart the immune system in the throat area, and leave you feeling refreshed and ready for the day. The second critical moment is about 30 minutes after meals. This is when the mouth's acid level is at its peak, following the digestion of food. Rinsing with salt water at this time helps neutralize the acid and wash away food debris stuck between teeth and gums, materials that cavity-causing and gum disease-causing bacteria love to feed on. Another important opportunity is right after you return home from being outdoors. In urban environments, especially, the air is filled with fine dust bacteria and respiratory irritants that you unknowingly inhale while traveling, talking, or working. Gargling with salt water when you get home is not just about cleaning your mouth. It acts like washing off the outside world, restoring balance to your mouth and throat. Finally, before going to bed is a crucial moment you should never skip. During sleep, the mouth tends to dry out due to reduced saliva flow, creating an ideal environment for bacteria to grow if daytime plaque is left behind. A final rinse at night helps maintain a clean oral environment throughout the night, significantly reducing the chances of bad breath in the morning and protecting teeth and gums from chronic inflammation. However, no matter what time of day you rinse, there is one critical principle you must follow after rinsing. Do not eat or drink immediately. Give your mouth at least 30 minutes of rest so that the natural biological components of the salt water can fully interact with the mucous membranes, fighting bacteria and aiding tissue recovery. Also, resist the temptation to think the saltier, the better. Over-concentrated salt water does not increase antibacterial effectiveness. Instead, it can damage cells, irritate the throat, and make sensitive tissues more prone to inflammation. Once you master the proper technique, you can make this habit even more flexible and powerful by adding a few gentle natural ingredients tailored to your specific health needs. One of the most wonderful additions is fresh ginger. Ginger has long been recognized by both traditional and modern medicine for its anti-inflammatory, antibacterial, and blood circulation boosting properties. Adding a few drops of fresh ginger juice to your warm salt water before rinsing can enhance the soothing effects on the throat, making it especially effective for cases of slight throat itchiness, mild sore throats, or dry coughing. Ginger's warming nature helps boost blood circulation in the throat tissues, speeding up healing without causing irritation the way many industrial throat sprays often do. If you are someone who is prone to cavities or often experiences sensitivity after eating sweet or sour foods, adding a small amount of baking soda to your warm saltwater rinse will be a wonderful choice. Baking soda, also known as sodium bicarbonate, has strong alkaline properties that help neutralize excess acid in the mouth, the main culprit behind enamel erosion and cavity formation. By simply adding a small pinch, about 1/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda, to your saltwater solution, you create a rinse that not only cleans deeply, but also balances pH levels and safely protects your enamel. Another ingredient with exceptional biological value for oral protection is propolis, the natural resin produced by worker bees. Adding 1 to 2 drops of liquid propolis to your warm salt water provides a natural biological shield for the mouth and throat, capable of inhibiting bacteria, fungi, and viruses. Propolis is also rich in flavonoids, powerful antioxidant compounds that help boost local immunity and accelerate the healing of wounds. If you are looking for an instant refreshing sensation after rinsing, adding natural peppermint essential oil is the ideal choice. Peppermint not only brings a pleasant fresh breath, but also possesses strong antibacterial properties, particularly against the anaerobic bacteria that cause bad breath. Just 1 drop of pure peppermint essential oil into your warm salt water, and you will feel a clear difference, lighter breath and a cleaner mouth and throat, without relying on chemical mouthwashes that contain alcohol and artificial fragrances. Additionally, raw honey is another excellent addition for days when your throat feels sensitive. with its natural antibacterial properties and soothing effect on the mucous membranes, dissolving a small amount of honey into warm salt water can help ease throat dryness and provide gentle anti-inflammatory support. This is a perfect choice for people who rely heavily on their voices, such as teachers, presenters, consultants, or anyone recovering from a cold. However, while these natural ingredients are very helpful, it is important to note that you should not use them continuously every single day. They should be used selectively during specific periods, depending on your physical condition and actual needs. For example, fresh ginger on cold days, when a sore throat appears, baking soda after meals high in sugar or propolis, when signs of gum inflammation or mouth ulcers occur. Adding these ingredients should be done thoughtfully, consciously, and in the right dosage. Overuse should be avoided, as even natural components, when used excessively, can cause unwanted reactions, especially in people with sensitive constitutions or underlying medical conditions. Although saltwater rinsing has become more popular in the community, many people still have legitimate questions, and sometimes these small uncertainties cause them to miss out on a highly effective health practice. So in this section, let us address some of the most frequently asked questions with practical and scientific explanations. One common concern is whether frequent use of salt water can erode tooth enamel. The answer is absolutely not, as long as you prepare the solution correctly. As explained earlier, physiological saline at a 0.9% concentration is not acidic and not strong enough to cause erosion. On the contrary, it helps stabilize the oral environment and supports the protection of enamel from bacterial and food acid attacks. Another frequent worry comes from people with high blood pressure, wondering whether saltwater rinsing could affect their blood pressure levels. In reality, if you use saltwater properly, meaning you rinse and spit it out without swallowing, no sodium is absorbed into the bloodstream. Therefore, people with high blood pressure can confidently use saltwater rinses daily and are even encouraged to do so if they are at risk of throat infections or gum inflammation. Another important question is, can rinsing with saltwater completely replace brushing my teeth? The answer is no. Although saltwater has mild antibacterial and surface cleansing properties, it cannot remove dental plaque, the layer where bacteria accumulate and form tartar over time. Proper toothbrushing remains an essential step in daily oral hygiene. The best approach is to combine the two: brush your teeth twice a day and use saltwater rinses as a complementary habit to protect your teeth and gums comprehensively. Some also ask, after rinsing with salt water, should we rinse again with clean water? The answer is that it is better not to rinse immediately. Doing so might accidentally wash away the natural protective layer that salt water just created on the mucous membranes. If you need to eat or drink afterward, wait about 20 to 30 minutes so the salt water can fully exert its effects. In cases where you really need to rinse, due to lingering saltiness, use a small amount of clean water and keep the rinse brief. Finally, a very practical concern: should people with dentures, especially removable ones, use salt water? The answer is yes, and they should even be more diligent about it. Denture wearers are more prone to gum inflammation, candida infections in the mouth, and unpleasant odors due to improper hygiene. Rinsing with warm salt water helps stabilize the oral environment, limits bacterial and fungal growth, and cleanse the areas where the dentures and gums meet, spots that easily accumulate food particles and odor-causing microorganisms. Understanding these questions and having scientific accurate answers will help you feel more confident about adopting this simple but highly effective habit into your daily life. And if you have ever hesitated or delayed because of uncertainties, now is the perfect time to start correctly, knowledgeably, and with greater confidence. Just 2 minutes, just 1 cup of warm water and a pinch of salt, and you are building a silent yet powerful shield for your body. And the miraculous thing is, no one else can do it for you. It is your choice, your commitment to yourself. Health does not come from a grand dramatic action. It starts with very ordinary things repeated every day with understanding and mindfulness. These small habits, when practiced correctly, become the strong foundation for a healthier body, a lighter spirit, and a life with fewer illnesses. So if you are still hesitating, start today. You do not have to wait for a health problem to act. Treat saltwater rinsing every morning and evening as a gift. You give yourself simple, gentle, but incredibly valuable. And if you find this content helpful, do not forget to leave a comment, a small commitment to yourself, like, I am starting to take care of my health from the smallest things. This is not just a message to me, but a mark of positive change in your own journey to better living. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel to continue accompanying me in upcoming shares where you do not need to do anything grand. Just start with simple but correct actions every day. Taking care of your body is not a burden. It is how you show respect to yourself.